episode of Africa's Next. My name is Damakor Mensah. Today on the show, we are interviewing a young entrepreneur who is making strides all the way in Nigeria and across the globe. His name is Chidi Nwaogu. He's a serial tech entrepreneur, software developer, a public speaker, business writer, volunteer mentor, startup advisor. Nwaogu started his entrepreneurial journey when he was 16 years with the creation of the Naija Boy Interactive, a video game development company. Today, Nwaogu is the co-founder and CEO of Publiseer and also a digital publisher for African creatives. Described by Kobinin as one of the largest digital publishers in Africa and identified by IFC as one of the startups that could speed up innovation in Africa. And listed in Oprah as one of the 5 made in Nigeria companies that are giving Nigerians so much value in 2020. So this is an exciting gentleman we're speaking to today on Africa's Next. Remember, Nwaogu is the youngest member and the only African on the advisory council of the Pursuit Incubator because International. It was selected by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that's MIT, for their 2019 MIT Venture Scaling Bootcamp in Boston, and by the World Culture Opening to present Publiseer on the stage of Better Together Challenge 2019, and by the National Training Academy for the African Presidential Leadership Program in Cairo. The startups have been featured on several media publications like African Business Review, Tech Crunch, for their strides in the tech ecosystem. So it's a long bio in there, and this is the man we are speaking to today on Africa's Next. I promise you it's going to be an interactive discussion, interactive interview today, and I can tell you that at the end of the discussion, you will learn a whole lot from our tech genius that's speaking today on the show. Remember, the name is Chidi Nwaogu, and he's a serial tech entrepreneur. We're going for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll delve into the interview with our guest for today.
Chidi Nwaogu is a serial tech entrepreneur, co-founder and CEO of Publiseer, a digital publishing firm with reach in over 12 countries across the world. Recognized as one of the most innovative tech companies that drives African innovation, his company Publiseer was awarded the Best Digital Media Publishing Company for West Africa in 2020 by African Excellence Awards. Chidi possesses key skills in web design and development, leadership, entrepreneurship, game development and management, user interface design, business development, and much more. When you select Chidi as your mentor, you will learn the secrets of how to create a thriving tech startup business. Log on to our page, Africa's Next SPG, on Facebook and Instagram, and select Chidi as your mentor, or write to us at africasnextspg@gmail.com. Meet your mentor, Chidi Nwaogu. Africa's Next, empowering Africa's next superpower generation.
Back from the commercial break, it's still live on Africa's Next. My name is Damakor Mensah. As I promised you, you're going to have an interactive show today. You're going to enjoy yourself and learn a lot. We're bringing to you somebody who can associate with both worlds, a young person who is making strides in the technological world. Let me invite our guest for today to join us on the show. Mr. Chidi Nwaogu, greetings and welcome to Africa's Next.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having me.
Trust you're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
So tell us more about yourself. I know I've read an impressive bio, and I think every young person would like to achieve what you have done. Tell us more about yourself.
I started my career as a software developer. So that was when I was 13. I decided to learn how to code in HTML and CSS. Okay. And then I decided to transition from software development into entrepreneurship because I wanted to make money from the things I created. And that was when I went into software entrepreneurship. At the age of 19, I created something called Lagbook. So Lagbook is a backronym for Ladies and Gentlemen Book. It was a social network for students of the University of Lagos. And it got 1 million. We expanded from the University of Lagos. We had 1 million users within 3 years. And we got acquired by a Canadian tech company called Gospel Limited in 2012 or 2012-2013. So that was my first acquisition. And then I decided to go into another startup with my twin brother. So I have an identical twin brother. His name is Chika. and we did our second startup company, and that had over 200,000 users in 4 months, and was acquired by an American nonprofit organization called Tendo's Charity. And then I decided to take a break from software entrepreneurship and maybe do something different. So I decided to write because I always love writing. And that was when and my twin brother decided to go into music too. So, we went into the creative industry, and we discovered there was a gap in monetization for independent creatives in Africa. That was when we came back together to create Publiseer. We created Publiseer in August 2017 as a platform that will help independent writers and musicians to earn a living from their creative content. And so far we've helped over 5,000 creatives from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, and Egypt. And for that, I think I got so many recognition, including so many awards and so many fellowships, and so that's me in a nutshell. I'm a regular human being, just that I just love doing a lot of things, and I don't mind doing it over and over again until I get it right.
I think I have to be sincere with you. You might not be a regular human, you're a twin, and that's special.
Oh, okay, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think that's one thing you and I have in common. I'm also a twin, but luckily for me, my twin is a girl, not a guy.
Yeah, it's much. You're very lucky.
Chidi, let's delve into the interview today. Let's start with this one. What do you think should be African entrepreneurs focus in identifying the right tools in reaching the end user or customer in the digital age using publishing technology?
So for me, African entrepreneurs, the main thing that they have to do is, I think most African entrepreneurs don't create products that people want to use or people are ready to use. And the most reason is because they don't really understand the target customers. They don't really understand what the pains that the target customers are going through, if the problem they're trying to solve is urgent or not. Most African entrepreneurs create products based on what is already working out there. So maybe company A is doing something and it's working for them, and so they decide to create a duplicate of whatever they see and then just put their brand to it. And so they don't really think about if they're building something that people really want. So they skip mass market research, they skip design thinking or design sprints. I think most of them do it because they just want to do something. They just don't want to be left behind. Maybe their friends they have a friend who is an entrepreneur who is traveling around the world and getting a lot of awards, and so they get into they try to do the right thing for the wrong reasons, and so they focus on on rewards other than value that they're offering. And so I believe that even younger African entrepreneurs, if they want to create wealth, they want to grow, the best way for them to do it is by, it's not even funding. Always if you ask a young African entrepreneur, what's the problem, what's the challenge you need, or what is the challenge you're experiencing? Capital. And it's not capital. And I always tell people it's not capital because your customers can fund your business. Your customers have more money than any investor put together. And so if you can get your customers to pay for whatever you're offering, then you're going to make as much money, even more money than your investors can ever give you. But people fail to create product that their customers can find valuable. And so at the end of the day, they just put a lot of money into something, and at the end of the day, nothing, there's no traction, whatever, and then they say they need money to keep moving forward. I'm a firm believer that anything that can be big can be small. So for example, if Ferrari is a big car, very expensive. However, they have these miniature toy cars that look identical to the big one, right? And whenever you see a big building, chances that the building existed as a small version on a piece of on a table. So whatever is big can be small. And so if you want to be that big company, you want to create that big, massive impact, you can start small, and you can know if from that mini scale, you can know if what you're doing makes sense or not. And so you don't need all the money in the world. You just need little amount of money to test your product, to know if it's offering value. So I think most African entrepreneurs, they have to focus on, value, understanding their target customers, the pain that they are going through, and then try and solve a problem that really, really exists and is urgent enough. Because I don't want to educate you about these things, but the thing is that if you're trying to solve a problem that does not have a current solution, then there's a chance that that problem does not exist, because we are all human beings. If a problem really exists, we would have found a way around it. Even if maybe the current solution might not be ideal, but we should have found a way around it. And so, before you solve a problem, ask yourself, is there a current solution to this problem? And if there's a current solution to this problem, is it a nightmare? If it's not a nightmare, there's a chance that your target customers are comfortable with that solution, and there's no need of creating a new solution. So, the most important thing is offer value, and then the growth just comes along with it.
What do you think we are lacking the knowledge for us to understand the market, to know what the tools we should use to get the dominance we want to get in the market?
I think the most thing is that data is about every market is available for free. Okay. So I think most of the problem is that we do not. I wouldn't say most entrepreneurs, but most entrepreneurs do not like learning. So they always like the internet has a lot of free data about because chances are whatever you're doing, somebody has done it before, and somebody has done some market research about it. So you can, if you want to get relevant information about whatever you want to do, you can get this information online for free. But I think some of us, we are more focused on the solution we are building rather than the problem we're solving. Mm-hmm. And so we already have the solution in our mind. This is the solution. This is what I want to build. And so we don't care about any data or any statistics that exist outside, to support whatever we are doing. We just want to build whatever we want to build in our mind. And so at the end of the day, we end up building a solution that nobody wants, and then we don't want to pivot or iterate because we believe that we've already fallen in love with whatever we've built. And that's not the right approach. The right approach is to first identify a problem, fall in love with that problem, and be ready to take whatever step it is. You need to, if it requires you to pivot completely, be ready to do that. As long as you are able to just get that data, search for that data, because there's information for free. The most reason why people don't, end up creating something of value is because of, I would like to say, lack of knowledge or ignorance, but it's because they don't go out to learn, about their target customers here. They don't go out to learn about it. They just want to be a solution that they have in mind. And at the end of the day, they realize that the solution, nobody wants it.
From your bio, you realize that you're somebody who has a lot of experience across industries and continents. Tell us, let's look at technology. How do you see the technological know-how of our entrepreneurs in Africa in comparison to that of foreign countries? You can give us some experiences if you have any.
So the funny thing is that people think that other countries outside Africa are really, really advanced. And funny thing is that it's not that much advanced as we think. I experienced the slowest internet in my entire life in Germany. So I worked like the internet was crawling to the point that I was fed up and I had to close my laptop. So, and I said to myself, okay, so first world Germany has bad internet, so they have their own problems, but we always believe that everything is perfect over there, right? And most of the software engineers we have in Africa, most of the products we create in Africa is very, very advanced. Like most people don't understand that the banking sector in Africa is well advanced than the banking sector in the United States. So, like, for example, in Nigeria, you can send money across your account to a different account, within minutes using your mobile phone, your feature phone. But in the US, those things don't really exist. People still use check. And I'm like, really, you use check. Yeah, but the funny thing is that, we think that things are advanced there, but the banking sector in Africa is well advanced than the banking sector over there. And it's like when I figured it out, I was surprised. I was like, okay, so finally we got something right in Africa, right? So I still believe that there's a lot of advancement we've done in Africa, but the problem is that people are not really telling the story. The story about Africa they tell is the story that about whenever something bad happens, they always talk about that story. So they tell that single story about us. However, there's so many amazing startups coming out of Africa. We have Paystack, we have Andela, we have Flutterwave. These guys they're doing amazing jobs. But what you see on the news is not, it's not those things praising them, right? You see things bad about the African image. And so I think that only if someone can tell our story properly, if someone can tell our story better, then maybe the world can see that we are very intelligent people, we are creative people, we are extremely smart and hardworking, and not keep telling that negative part. If one person does something bad, you amplify it, but if a million people do something great, you just don't talk about it. So I think we should focus on the positive side of Africa rather than the negative side, and they will understand that Africa has, we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of like the software developers I've met in Nigeria are amazing, and they're like first class. So yeah, but like Angela said, talent is evenly distributed, but opportunities aren't. Yeah, so.
True. I think it's not with the youth of today if we're able to change the narrative, because we are seeing the only image they have of Africa is about war, anger, death, and other many negative things that really don't push well for the continent. So on our interview, what do you think entrepreneurs should visualize? How do you think they should visualize their business impact and create relevant models in order to break through the ceiling to actually begin a progression towards world dominance for Africa?
Well, I think the first thing to do is make sure that whatever problem that you're trying to solve, because before you can create a business, you're definitely solving a problem. And if you're not solving a problem, then you've not created a business. And so make sure that whatever problem you're solving is big enough. So when I say big enough, I mean not a market that is really small. So it's something I always say, don't be a vitamin in the midst of painkillers. So that means that don't be a good to have product in the midst of must have products. There are people in Africa, we don't have much buying power in Africa, right? And so people only take something that they need and not something that they want. Like how many people have visited the dentist in their entire lifetime? And Africans, in Africa we don't have monthly health checkup. People don't really take their health that seriously. So people don't really spend money that much in Africa on wants. We spend money on things that are required. When we have headache, that's when we decide to get it. That's when we take painkillers. However, we fail to understand that if we take vitamins, we can prevent that headache, right? And so if African entrepreneurs can just focus on creating or solving a problem that really exists, that is big enough and is growing fast, and not only growing fast, but growing in an accelerated rate. So for example, there are different types of, people don't understand that there are different types of growth. There's accelerated growth and decelerated growth. And there's rather even consistent growth. For example, in 2010 to 2015, your market grew by $5 billion. Then in 2015 to 2020, your market also grew, but by $2,000. That means that your market grew, however, your market is decelerating. And that means that if your market is decelerating at some point, that means one day it stopped growing and then it start shrinking and then come to a crunch. That means the problem that you're trying to solve will no longer exist. And so make sure that you understand the market that you're trying to get into. Understand if the market is growing. Understand if what are the factors that are driving the growth in this market, and if these factors are going to stay forever, or if these factors are going to just are temporary. And then figure out how you can solve the problem. You can solve the problems usually two ways, and people don't understand that there are two ways in which you can solve a problem. You can solve the problem by looking at the factors that affect the problem and then getting rid of those factors. But if you cannot get rid of those factors that affect the problem, because maybe they are natural, they occur in natural in nature, then you can kind of reduce or cushion the effect of these problems on the lives of your target customers. So it's either you can use the cause or the effect, right? Whichever the case. And then whenever you're trying to create a product, understand who the target customers are properly, because two things have to happen before you can make money. Your customers have to find value in your product, and then also want to be able to buy the product. So if they find value in the product but they don't have the financial ability to buy the product, what happens? You don't make money. And if they don't find value in the product and they have the money, you still don't make money. So make sure that you are able to identify these things properly. People who will find value from my product, and people who are able to buy, and then intersect them and then find who these people are. You can never find something if you don't know what you're looking for. And so people are constantly looking for people to use their products when they don't even know who an ideal person or who an ideal target customer is. So once you're able to figure out who your ideal target customer is, to get them and onboard them and retain them is like it's just normal. It's easy. So once that's what entrepreneurs should rather focus on. how can I get, how can I understand my customers properly and then understand their pain points? And then once they do that, they can grow and scale, between across markets. Yeah.
How do you see, or how and where do you see Africa in the next 5 to 20 years, generally with regards to your industry?
My own industry, my industry is digital media, and digital media is it's really growing fast in Africa, especially music. So I see this a market that's constantly growing, especially music in Nigeria. So I think music in Nigeria is really like on the top of everything. The film industry in Nigeria too is also on the top of everything. I don't really know much about books and how that's going to really pan out. And then the gaming industry is something that we recently entered into, and it's still nascent and it's really growing. It's quite struggling, but I still believe that Africa if I look back at at Africa 10 years ago and look back and look at Africa now, we're still growing regardless. Although we choose not to see it because we are several years behind other continents. However, we are still growing, and I still believe that growth should be appreciated. And for me, I love Africa. The reason why I love Africa is because I believe that problems is what brings about opportunities. And if we claim that Africa has a lot of problems and there's so many things not working in Africa, it's an opportunity for so many people to create businesses and become multi-billionaires, right? So that means that the chances of making a business in Africa is 100% higher than in any other parts of the world. So I see that as a good thing. And if you're an entrepreneur, Africa is the right place to be because there's a lot of things to solve. There's a lot of things that are not working, and there's a lot of things you can offer value to. So yeah, I see Africa as something that's going to grow very quickly in the nearest future. Yeah.
So with this growth bit, what role does your industry play in putting Africa on the world stage in the 21st century?
Yeah. So the main mission for my company is to promote the heritage of the African people to the rest of the world. So like when I was giving a speech in Korea, I said something to them. I said to them that I started my speech saying like, how many of you have heard about Africa? Like, how many of you, then what do you think about Africa? Africa. And it was surprising how very little they knew about us. But I realized that the easiest way to introduce people to a culture or a certain class of people is through their music, is through their books, right? Like so many people, when I travel to a different country and they say, where are you from? Nigeria? Oh, I love Davido. So because that is a way in which they connect with us. That's how they understand us. So I believe that my industry is playing a very key role, which is digital media. It's playing a key role in promoting Africa to the rest of the world. Mostly the beautiful part of it, because like, for example, I think African music is doing so great these days. Burna Boy, Davido, Wizkid, right? So, and that's that's where our industry is playing, is because what people see on is what is shown on TV, what they see on YouTube and everything. And music is one way of promoting that beautiful part of Africa. If you go to places like, if you go to Kenya, the music that they play in Kenyan radio stations are 90% Nigerian music, and it's amazing. I lived in Ghana for 2 years, and Ghanaians play a lot of Nigerian music. A lot. Yeah. And so it's one of the easiest way for Ghanaians to really understand Nigerians is through their music. And one of the easiest way that Nigerians really relate with Ghanaians is also through their music. Like I love Kwame Eugene. I love a lot of a lot of Ghanaian music, and that's how I usually related to Ghanaians, And the more you love people and what they bring, they bring out, or their product, the more you love them. Because when I got to Ghana the first time, and I started listening to Ghanaian music, and I started loving Ghanaian music, I found myself like loving the culture, loving the people there. Like it was a way to connect with Ghanaians. Yeah. And so when I always sent to my twin brother, because he was living in Kenya at the moment, I always sent him, hey, here's the Ghanaian music I discovered, and I sent it to him. There was this guy I sent to him. His name starts with K. I can't really remember the
King Promise?
Yeah, King Promise. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I sent him a song by King Promise. Oh yeah. And then my twin brother was like, wow, like Ghanaians have these kinds of music, and I said, yeah. And then he was so excited, like he was like, okay, so next time I come to Ghana, and next time I'm back to West Africa, I'll come to Ghana. And so that was because of the music. He really loved the music and he connected to it, you know. So I find my industry as a way to connect Africa to the other parts of the world, you know, and a way to, you know, make other parts of the world understand who, you know, the way we think and the creativity behind us, right? For example, most of Ghanaians love Nigerians mostly because of our comedy, right? There's this Emanuela, right? Yeah, and so, you know, that's the way we relate, you know, you relate. And I love Ghanaians mostly because of Calibos. And, you know, when we hear, you know, things like this, it's a way of bringing cultures together, you know, and making people really understand each other. So I see my industry playing a very big role in that, yeah.
Right. From the interactions, I realized that you have been to Ghana. Your company have had works in Ghana, have had works in Kenya. What other countries on the continent have you had works in, and what has been the progress of the work so far?
Yeah, so apart from Ghana and Kenya, we've also had works in Egypt and in South Africa. But Nigeria still remains our land of the most impact. Of the most impact. Mostly because Nigerian music is more mature than other parts of Africa, you know, and so we're still struggling with the Kenyan music because it seems like the people who listen to Kenyan music are Kenyans in diaspora or the Kenyans in Kenya, and the Kenyans in Kenya don't buy music; they download it for free, and so we have to struggle so hard, you know, to keep it, you know, with the Kenyans in diaspora, which is a really small figure. But Nigerian music is, you know, it's been listened to and downloaded by a lot of, you know, nationalities, and so that's why we have our most traction in Nigeria. Hopefully someday Kenyan music, Ghanaian music, you know, they become as popular as Nigerian music, and we start making a lot of money, and not only making a lot of money, but we start exporting more talent, you know, to the rest of the world. Yeah.
So we're having an interactive chat with our guest for today. He's a tech genius. He's a mad tech genius. He's a mad tech genius. We're going for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we continue the conversation right here on Africa's Next. Remember, go to our Facebook page, Instagram page, and also our YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and tell us the entrepreneur you would like to, the mentor you would like to be paired with to learn from. We're going for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we continue our discussion, we continue our interview, we continue our interaction with our guest for today. This is Africa's Next.
Africa is on the precipice of a breakout onto the world stage in a way and manner that has never happened before. And at Africa's Next, we are poised to enable this advancement. We believe in mentoring the next superpower generation of entrepreneurs to enable them push Africa onto the world superpower stage. At Africa's Next, we are pairing seasoned mentors, industry experts and professionals, policymakers and social change advocates, etc., with upcoming entrepreneurs across Africa to offer mentoring opportunities. Mentees stand a chance to access funding after successfully completing their mentoring program. Join the discussions on our social media handles at Africa's Next XPG on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and be part of our privileged entrepreneurs who get to be mentored by the world's best. Welcome to Africa's Next. Mentoring Africa's next superpower generation.
Africa's Next. My name is Makomen. Today, our guest for the show is Chidi Nwaogu. He's a serial tech entrepreneur, a software developer, public speaker, business writer, a volunteer mentor, and a startup advisor. So, welcome back from the commercial break.
Thank you.
I don't think there's been any major discussion this year than what we have relating to COVID-19. How has the coronavirus affected your industry? And what do you think should have been the appropriate response by government, the organization, and other staff members to making sure we curb or reduce the impact of COVID-19?
Yeah, so it didn't really affect my industry that bad because we're into digital content distribution. That means everything we do is in the cloud. And so we didn't really get that much heat. You know, if we did venture into print publishing and physical distribution of CDs, then we would have been affected. So, but we're not that affected. But our revenues got, you know, quickly increased quickly because mostly because people relied on books and music as a form of entertainment or a form of, you know, keeping themselves occupied during the pandemic and the lockdown. But like we had new authors, you know, submitting their books. I think mostly because they had the chance to finish their books because they are able to sit down one place and then finish the book. But then we had a very little amount of, rather there was a huge decrease in the amount of new music submissions. And I think mostly because musicians in this part of the world don't create music remotely. They have to go to the studio, and then they have to get sound engineers and music producers, to come in a physical space to collaborate. And so we started figuring out how we can help our musicians and other musicians that we are onboarded to be able to create music virtually, just in their rooms, and collaborate with people in different parts of the world. And then we discovered something called Soundation, and then we're working with Soundation to help musicians to be able to create new content, even without having to go to a recording studio to do that. I think we underestimated the COVID situation. We underestimated it. I remember when during the outbreak in China, I was in Egypt at the moment, and I always watch it on CNN, and I always thought it was a China thing. Like, it was never going to come out of China. Yeah, and so when they go to the markets where they believed that it started from, and they say the market is deserted. I never knew that emptiness would someday get to me. I thought that maybe the emptiness was just there, and I'll continue to live my personal life. And so I came back to Nigeria, then left again to Sierra Leone, and then came back to Nigeria, and I was about to leave to Kenya, and then I heard that there was a lockdown, and I was like, really? How? And that's when I realized that it has gone to Italy. Things are really bad, and then it's really spreading, and we've now had some cases in Nigeria. And then I realized that I think the most thing that made the pandemic a pandemic is because we underestimated it. It's a lesson to all of us that we should never overestimate anything, but never underestimate anything either. Always try and address things. As they come, we should try and address things. I also learned the lesson as an entrepreneur that when I see an issue arise, and I shouldn't underestimate it and overlook it like, oh, I don't think it's going to be that serious. I should always try and address it no matter how little it is. So I learned that about it. And I also think that it also showed the world that the healthcare system not only in Africa, but in the other parts of the world is broken. We don't have adequate healthcare. We thought that the United States had amazing healthcare, but now, COVID was able to break it, make them understand that even if you guys believe you have all the healthcare, you have the most cases in the world right now. So, sometimes I'm so scared that my mom is living in the epicenter of the COVID situation. That's New York, and so I'm always worried that what happens. I hope she's fine. I'm always calling in to find out if she's fine or if she's good. And so it just makes me understand that I think it just showed us the loopholes in everything. It showed us in Nigeria that in Nigeria, I think Nigeria got the COVID situation backwards. Like, I don't know how I'm going to put it, but I think we got it all backwards. And these days, I think in Nigeria these days, people are no longer worried. They don't really care. They don't really believe that the COVID situation exists anymore. And the reason why is that they believe that the numbers are being inflated. During the first period, the numbers were fast growing, and people were so scared. But now I think the numbers are in the 20,000s, and then people are like, really, 20,000? How come I don't know of anybody who has COVID? Yeah, and so I think, but I also think that we are also slow in testing. Nigeria is very slow in testing. Nigeria have to wait until you have a symptoms before you are able to you're being tested, and that is, they got it backwards. You should test them even before. They don't have to have the symptoms. Before you test them. You test those who have. Just test everybody, so you can separate those who have from those who don't have. You don't have to wait for the person to start showing symptoms before you separate, because the moment they start showing symptoms, they've given it to somebody else. And so if you're separating, you still have bad samples in the normal samples. So I think we got it completely backwards, in the sense of testing. And I think that's one of the reasons why the case in Nigeria keeps increasing, and the death keeps increasing, because we're not testing properly. I think that's where Nigeria needs to learn a thing or two from Ghana, because I realized that Ghana
was doing contact testing.
Yeah, I think Ghana is testing faster. I think also Ghana is testing. I think just behind South Africa and Egypt. Ghana is the next country that is testing as much people. So I think that's one thing we should learn from Ghana. There's a lot of things Nigeria needs to learn from Ghana anyway. So, but we wouldn't go into that today. So, but I think the pandemic just showed us that there was a lot of things that we thought we got right, but that we didn't get right. From the business point of view, it made me understand that remote, doing things remotely is not wrong, because in those days, I won't say those days, but before the pandemic broke out, we always did things in physical, in person. If we want to have investor meeting, we meet in person, we shake hands, and then we drink coffee together. But it has explained to us that these things can happen without you having to meet each other. I've had so many events that I never went to see. I should have traveled to Spain, Germany, Switzerland, but I did everything virtually. And it's crazy how much we say these days, hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can everybody see me? Yes. It's the new thing now these days. We always ask if people can see us, if people can hear us. And it's our new normal, but it just explains to us that things are constantly changing, and we should constantly adapt or change as things change. And from my knowledge, this is not the first pandemic we've had. There was a pandemic we've had many years ago, I think in the 1920s or something.
The Spanish flu.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think we didn't learn much from that. I think after it was done, we didn't think that something like this would never happen, and so we never prepared for it. I think I watched a video that Bill Gates said that the pandemic is going to be the next thing that is going to really affect us, not terrorism. Yes. And so, but we all watched that video, but we didn't care. We thought it was Bill Gates being Bill Gates. He's just being pessimistic, and so I think we just didn't believe something like that can happen to us. So it just made me to understand. It just reiterates the point that you should be prepared for the worst, but expect the best. But make sure that even if the worst happens, that you're prepared. And so that's something that we were never prepared. Even the United States was not prepared, because even when the cases in the UK was going up, they felt it was a fluke. It was not real. And so nobody. I think we all underestimated it, and thank God that COVID is an egocentric disease, and so it was like, okay, since you underestimate me, I'm going to show you that and so yeah. But
you made a mention of things becoming normal now, that now we don't have the physical interactions. As a creative person, as somebody who do a lot of one-on-one meeting with people, how has that been so far? You staying at home, the lockdown, you people not going to the offices. How has it been, the experience managing your creative acts, publishing staff, and also your major advertising campaigns across different locations? How has that been for you?
Yeah, so for me, even before the pandemic, we've always tried to do a lot of things remotely and virtually, right? And we've always done most of our campaign online, because a part of our business culture is you cannot be advertising an online product offline. It makes no sense, because what if the person they're advertising to offline doesn't have data? So we always advertise our products online, because we believe that if it's an online product, then it must be online you should advertise it. And so we never had an issue with that. But people don't really know, but I'm an introvert. Like, I'm a complete introvert. I love my space, and I love to work. Waking up in the morning in a boxer short and a socks, and then you're in front of your computer and working, is heaven to me. And so the pandemic was a way to just make me reinforce that, oh, thank God, I can finally be me. So I didn't really feel that pain, in it. But a lot of people I know really felt that pain, that they couldn't go out. But I think the only pain I found that I figured out was that I love traveling. I'm the kind of person that, not that I don't love traveling with people. I just love traveling alone. And I love traveling mostly because I get to see a lot of people live their life, and I get to understand that I occupy a very small space in life, and that I shouldn't worry too much or bother God too much, because there are a lot of people He's answering, He's listening to so many prayers, and so I should just be cool. And because everybody's trying to tell their story and stuff. So it makes me understand that there's more to life than me. And so I love traveling to see other people live their life, and just see that beauty and that diversity. But unfortunately, for the past 5 months, I've not been able to do that.
Okay.
I've been in one place for a very long time, which is not like me. People are surprised that so Chidi, you're in a particular place. I never believed that you could be in a particular place for this long. And I'm like, yeah, the COVID, that's what the COVID did. But in the part of being introverted and doing things indoor, it was heaven. It was very good. But it's also helped us as a team to be able to work together, to understand that we can work together. Because before we never, when we're trying to do it, develop the product I think sometime last year. But then the problem was that we were in different countries, and so we felt like we had to come to the same country to be able to develop the product. And so that was the excuse we were giving ourselves as a team, that okay, we need to be in the same place to be able to develop this product. And so we said, okay, whenever we are in the same place, then we'll develop the product. But when the COVID happened, then we understood that maybe this can be the new normal. So we had to find a way in which we could develop the product, even apart. And then we discovered that we could do it, and then we did it. And within 3 months, we were able to develop the product that we've been keeping aside because of we're not in the same place. So I think COVID helped us understand that we can do more than what we give credit to ourselves. Okay. And so yeah, and then it's been a good journey for us. Yeah.
So do you think we can continue working from the house as a means of subsidizing our office workforce and also employing more people as a result of what COVID-19 brings us to see and do with our work environment?
Yeah, I think anything is possible, right? So Andela, I heard that Andela is shutting down their physical spaces and they are going completely virtual and completely. Wow. And if Andela can do it, I believe that anybody can do it. And so I really hope so that it's possible, because that way, people can hire more people, because there's no longer head of abuse. They don't need to pay heavy money for a workspace. And so they can put those money into hiring more people and bridging the unemployment gap that was created due to COVID, right? But I don't know, but I believe that it's possible. Yeah.
All right. So we're still having an interaction with our guest for today on Africa's Next. His name is Chidi Nwaogu, and he is a serial tech genius, and he is blessing us with a lot of ideas. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a young entrepreneur listening to us, this is supposed to be something that will motivate you. If you like somebody, if you like digital world, if you like technology, there's something that's supposed to motivate you to go on to achieve the heights. We're going for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we continue our conversation. This time around, we are going deeper into his entrepreneurial life, his entrepreneurial endeavor, what he does for a living. He'll tell us more about that, and we learn much from it. You go to our Facebook page, go to our Instagram page, go to our YouTube page, and comment on our various posts, telling us the mentor you like to pair with, to learn from. This Africa's Next with me, the Performance Son. We are back after this short commercial break.
Chidi Nwaogu is a serial tech entrepreneur, co-founder and CEO of Publiseer, a digital publishing firm with reach in over 12 countries across the world. Recognized as one of the most innovative tech companies that drives African innovation, his company Publiseer was awarded the Best Digital Media Publishing Company for West Africa in 2020 by African Excellence Awards. Chidi possesses key skills in web design and development, leadership, entrepreneurship, game development and management, user interface design, business development, and much more. When you select Chidi as your mentor, you will learn the secrets of how to create a thriving tech startup business. Log on to our page, Africa's Next SPG, on Facebook and Instagram, and select Chidi as your mentor, or write to us at africasnextspg@gmail.com. Meet your mentor, Chidi Nwaogu. Africa's Next, empowering Africa's next superpower generation.
From the commercial break, still live on Africa's Next. My name is Dama Mensa. Today, our guest, Chidi Nwaogu, a serial tech entrepreneur, a software developer. Entrepreneurs, if you're out there, please go to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and also our YouTube page. Go there and comment the entrepreneur, the mentor you like to be paired with to learn out from. Chidi, welcome back.
Thank you.
Now let's get to your entrepreneurial endeavor. At what age did you realize that you needed to start your own business? And what have been some of the challenges you have faced as a young entrepreneur growing up in Nigeria, the largest African economy at present?
Yeah, so like I said, I started off as a web designer or a software developer? I don't know. So, but I started off that way, and but the thing I discovered was that each time I always thought about the future, I never thought about working for a big corporation, and for a very weird reason, I never know why. But I always thought about creating something, and so I think it was just like a natural instinct that, okay, you create something. And I think maybe most of the reason why was because the people I looked up to, the role models I looked up to, they started their own companies, like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, And so I said, okay, I mean, maybe the best way to get through this path is through entrepreneurship. And so it was just like a no-brainer for me. But I would like to say the challenges I had building the right team, the right people behind the product.
Okay.
I never saw finance as a problem, because I always believed that you can start, no matter how small, you can start, and then you work your way up. And so whenever I start a business, I'm always thinking big term, like, well, how big can this get? However, I'm always thinking of how small can I start, and so I always start from that singularity, and then spread out. But but like when I first started my first company with my twin brother, we were 16 years old at the time. We created this video game development company. We learned how to develop games using GML. It's short for game maker language. It's like an advanced form of BASIC used for typically game creation. And so we started creating games for Windows, and then we're popular in our environment. People like called us the game developer twins, the C# twins. Like, we had so much nicknames. But however, we discovered we were broke. Like, okay, you guys love our games, you guys play our games. Can you just even donate money to us? Just give us money to keep doing what we do. And we realized that Nigerians were comfortable with playing games for free. And if the game was not on PlayStation, or the game was not created by EA, or was not created by Naughty Dog, or some established game publisher, they were not interested. But they enjoyed playing our game, but they were not interested in buying. That brings me to my point that if you give people you offer value to people and they don't have the money to buy it, it makes no sense. And so we had to stop the game development and switch back into web application development. That was when we created Lagbook. This happened when we got admitted, we got admissions into the University of Lagos. So the story behind Lagbook is a quite funny one, but let me see if I can quickly tell it.
Tell us. You like to tell us.
Yeah, so a day, it's just like a normal day. We were going to the faculty for a lecture. And this really really, I would like to say pretty or sophisticated girl passed by, and my twin and I we looked, and then my twin said that the girl, she's definitely a science student, and I said no, science students, science girls, they don't look this way, that they are very serious people. They don't dress fancy and stuff like that. And so we just kept arguing back and forth on what faculty she belonged to. We realized that we couldn't ask her what faculty she belonged to, so we just had to just let it go. The little shy boys couldn't ask, and so it's okay, let's move on. And so later that day, I told my twin, but if there was a sort of social network for students of University of Lagos, and people everybody in Unilag was already on this platform, we can be able to maybe run into her picture someday and then know what faculty she belongs to. And he was like, yeah, very possible. And then we said, okay, why don't we create one since there is none? And then we created Lagbook. And many months later, she joined the platform, and then we were like, okay, she's a science student after all. I was wrong. But at the end of the day, we had a growing social networking platform. And so it was something that we didn't really plan that it was going to grow that big. We just wanted to do something that didn't exist. And so eventually we got profitable and we got acquired. And then we went to the next company. The next company, let me see if I can explain that to you. So my mom always sent prayer books to my dad in the US. So we're both. She was living in Nigeria at the time, and we were all living in Nigeria. My dad was living in the US, and so she always sent in prayer books. And so it's worried my twin and I. Were like, why do you always have to buy these prayer books and have to put it in FedEx or DHL and then send it to him? It's too expensive. Why, if maybe these prayers can be available online, maybe he can find them and be able to pray with them. And so we called our dad and said, do you think if these prayers were available online that you would be interested in it? And he said, yes, you'll be interested. And we had our next product. And so we created this a platform that helps people to pray better by drawing words from the Bible and then combining them in such a way that that it becomes a prayer. And we had over 200,000 users, mostly from the United States, within 4 months, and then we got acquired the following month. Then that was when we decided to go, like I said earlier, go into the creative industry. I writing, my twin into music. I wrote a couple of books, and then he did a studio album. Then we discovered that. Okay, let me explain the story behind Publiseer. So the story behind Publiseer was really, will I say, it's a sad one. But it wasn't sad on my own side anyway. But it was sad for my twin. So my twin heard about this music artist in the United States, and he distributed his song with them. But he made a lot of money from his music. But then he, when it was time to take the money, he realized that the primary payment method was PayPal. And in Nigeria, and even including Ghana, you can't receive money via PayPal. And so he had to ask them for the next alternative payment method, which according to them was check payment. So they issued the check. 2 months down the line, the check never came. He reached out to them to find out what happened to the check. They said, but you took your money. And he was like, how can I take my money when I never received the check? They investigated, discovered that it was intercepted in somewhere in Oslo, Norway. And somebody used the fake ID, took the money, and like my twin was completely broken. But then he made us understand how broken the industry or the system was for African creatives. And then we said, okay, why don't we create a platform, that African creatives can monetize and then receive their money comfortably into their local bank account or into their mobile money wallet. And that was when we created Publiseer. So it was just a way of us just trying to bridge a gap or rather meet the needs of the target customer. And like I said, if you create something that people really want, then it will definitely grow organically. Mm-hmm. And so we kept growing. 8 months down the line, we became profitable. Then we scaled into newer markets. From Nigeria, went to Ghana. From Ghana, went to Kenya. Then Kenya to South Africa. Then South Africa to Egypt. And it's been a good journey so far. Yeah.
So in total, how many companies have you created?
Oh, so many startups. I've created so many companies. So many. Some of them failed. Why would I say some? I wouldn't lie on I wouldn't lie on video. A lot of them failed. One of them that failed was it was more like a Twitter kind of platform called it was called Oya Follow Me, and so it's more like a microblogging community. We grew very fast, but we had problems with our technical development, and then the company had to shut down. And it was one of the many companies that shut down. We shut down WebsFinder, we shut down Single Treasures. The names keep going. And so, however, like you said, you might have to create 10 companies before one is successful. And so, but us, luckily, we didn't have to create 10 before one was successful, but we created a lot of them. I think about 6 of them, 3 succeeded and 3 didn't succeed. Yeah.
So what has been the impact of the companies I've created within Africa and other parts of the world, especially Publiseer, which has been your frontline company? What has been the impact in Africa and other parts of the world?
Well, I think that Publiseer, like we said earlier, is more like promoting the good side of Africa that people don't see or people don't tell, but I think also it just makes other parts of other people in other parts of the world understand that Africans are creative people. Like I go to so many events in different countries, and I meet people from different countries, and they ask me, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Nigeria. And they ask me, what do you do? And I tell them what I do, and they say, wow, this is amazing. And so I believe that I'm representing the country in a positive light. If maybe they've never seen any or never heard of any good Nigerian, I'm a good example, right? So I feel like it's not only about the companies, but also about myself, because I believe that I'm the company. I'm like you cannot take away the person behind the business, So I just believe that the businesses, the impact we create outside Africa is just that positive narrative about what Africa is doing. And also, apart from the fact that we are generating revenue for ourselves, I think Publiseer is much different from other platforms. Other platforms we created in the past, we just focus on creating revenue for ourselves and giving people value. But Publiseer is not only giving people value, but also giving people a source of income. So we've discovered that so many people on Publiseer rely heavily on the money that they make from their creative content, on our platform. And so it feels good knowing that you created a platform that people use as a source of income for, to feed their family and then, take care of themselves and, have the opportunity to dream. And so it's a good feeling for me. And sometimes, during the early times of Publiseer, what really made my day was when, I received an email from one of the creatives saying, "Thank you so much. God bless you." I just feel this unreserved joy that I'm able to change someone's life, and the person is really excited about it. And not really because of the money, but because of that joy I'm able to give, to give to other people, and that hope, rather, let's put it that way. So that hope I'm able to give to other people. And so that's what really, I believe, is the impact that we are creating. That source of hope for Africans here, and then also changing the way other parts of the world see us or perceive us here.
Apart from Publiseer, there's another company that you own called Pringin. Have I gotten the name right?
Yeah, Pringin. Yeah.
Yes. Tell us more about Pringin.
Okay, so Pringin is relatively very new. It's a really new company. It started a few months before the COVID hit, and it's been heavily impacted by the COVID. So the traction we were expecting to get was not what we got. And so we cannot wait for COVID to be gone, and then we start Pringin all over again. So Pringin is what Pringin is like, I'll call it, it's like a web to print platform. So for example, you go to Pringin, you're able to design a branded T-shirt, and then you click on print, and then it's being printed and shipped to your house. And so it's more like you can wear customized clothes. You can it's also for companies that want to create branded merchandise, like branded T-shirts, branded cups, branded caps. So you can come on Pringin, you can design it on Pringin, and then send it for print, pay for it, and then it's being delivered to wherever you are, around the world. So Pringin is more like making the custom merchandise industry, or the branding industry, it's taking it a step further. Yeah. So we really saw so much opportunities for us, but then COVID hit, and then we really slowed down. Hopefully, we get back on track, and then we begin to normal operation as possible. Yeah.
So, what was the next step for Publiseer and Pringin? Are you ready to take a bigger market, or perhaps build an academy to train entrepreneurs?
So for Publiseer, we're just focused right now on dominating the market that we currently run. There's no need of moving to newer markets when you're not the number one stakeholder. And so we are focused on dominating the market now in the markets that we operate, and then after that we can decide to expand. So expansion is on our plan, but first we have to dominate the market. Then for Pringin is still very early. So what we're trying to figure out we're trying to figure out in Pringin rather is because we are torn in between two types of clients. Are we helping small business owners to customize their merchandise, or do we want to help much larger organizations? And small businesses, they're small business owners, rather startup founders. There are so many of them. However, the profit margins are not going to be that high. But there's so very little of these bigger organizations, but the margin is very, very high. And so that's what we're trying to do before the COVID hits. We're trying to play between the both target customers and see which one really works better for us, so we can narrow down our focus on that target customer. So we're going to try and advertise to small businesses and advertise to much larger organizations, and see which one we're able to convert quickly and which one's able to give us that profit margin that we're looking for. And then once we are able to identify that, then we stop whichever is less engaging and then focus on the one that's engaging. So right now, we're still in the process of finding who the ideal target customer is here.
Right. We just can't wait for the COVID-19 and all the issues around it to go down so that we can feel more of fringing in the market. You're a very young entrepreneur. You started a business from the smallest part. What has been some of the major constraints in building a business in Africa? In general, what has been some constraints in building a business in Africa?
I think that building businesses in Africa, the most constraint is that there's I think that rather is that there's no knowledge about what most entrepreneurs don't even understand what they're building. And I wouldn't say capital. I keep telling people it's not capital. It's because most entrepreneurs don't understand what they're building. They don't think, they're always thinking short term. They don't think long term. You start something, you have to ask yourself questions like, how big can this get? What, if everything was possible, what would what would this be? And so, having that big picture in your head drives the story for you. And so most entrepreneurs don't know this in Africa. Most entrepreneurs feel they're trying to get by, trying to get their first customer, that way they don't know the story, so they don't know what direction they're taking, and so they are going in different directions, and obviously they don't get to their destination on time. So I believe that the constraint is that if most entrepreneurs can spend more time on understanding the industry before they get into the industry than just trying to get into the industry and then learn from their mistakes. Mistakes are very costly, to just go in and then learn from it. Rather, I think you just take a good amount of time, sit down out the industry, ask people, speak to people, understand the industry very well. Then when you're going into it, you make very little mistake, and and it saves time for you because you understand what works and what doesn't work. But these days, most African entrepreneurs, we just want to just go into. I think we lack patience, rather. I think that's the problem. We lack the patience to be able to sit down and try to understand the industry. We feel like we're wasting too much time. And so we just want to just go into the market and start making things happen. Unfortunately, when we go into the market, we don't make things happen. Things happen to us, and then we bail out. Yeah. So I think if we can just more like be patient to understand the industry, learning is a very, very important factor for every entrepreneur. Once you can learn, then to build the business is intuitive. Yeah.
How do you see the inter-trade relationship between countries within Africa continent, and what do you think should be the focus of a young entrepreneur such as yourself? That is Africa, some West Africa and West Africa, because you have had interaction from Egypt, Kenya, Sierra Leone, Ghana. Do you think that young entrepreneurs should start thinking about moving between countries? Yeah.
So I believe that Africa. It still baffles me that Africa, we require visa to go to some certain African countries. It still baffles me. Like, I'm surprised because I remember when I got to Belgium, and then when I got to Belgium, and then I took a flight from Belgium to Germany, and then when I got to Germany, I was expecting to be greeted by by passport control, but I was not greeted by anybody. Like, I literally came out from the plane and walked out of the airport, and I was freaking out. I was like, do I need to stamp this passport anywhere? I need to stamp this passport somewhere? Because you can't tell me that I came to a new country and my passport is not stamped. What if I leave? What happens? Because when I get into Ghana, my passport is stamped. 90 days they give me, but I got into Germany and they didn't stamp my passport. Then I asked one of the attendants that, what about, I thought, should my passport be stamped? And they were like, no, it's a local flight, and so you're free to go into the country. And I was like, really? Indefinitely? Say, yeah, as long as your visa is valid. And then I got to understand that if I'm from Belgium and I go to Germany, I can live in Germany indefinitely, as long as I have my passport is in the European Union. And so this thing is, I think the same thing also happens in East Africa too. In this East Africa, as a Kenyan, I can live in Tanzania indefinitely. But in West Africa, I don't know what's the problem, but we cannot live in each other's countries indefinitely. A Ghanaian can't come to Nigeria and live indefinitely here. You have to keep renewing your visa. You need to keep going out and coming back in. And I'm like, why? This is what makes people not want to build outside their country, right? I don't want to build in Ghana. If I build in Ghana, what happens if maybe I come to Ghana one day and my visa is being revoked, or I'm not allowed into the country? What happens to my investments? But once you understand that, you are welcome to Ghana indefinitely as a West African citizen, you feel good about it, And so I think that's one of the reasons, that's one of the things we should get right in West Africa. We should more like open up as to each other, and so that way, people, we can share wealth, we can share resources and stuff like that. And the same thing in Africa too. I think they were trying to create the African Union passport, but that thing has been in the pipeline for ages.
For a very long time.
And I believe that with the way it's going, it's never going to be released. And why is that? Because I believe that if it's released and we are able to go around the entire continent and do free trade, you are able to trade in every country, there will be a lot of wealth generation, because there are so many businesses that want to come from different countries to another country, but they're always scared that what if I come to this country and build everything in this country, and one day I'm refused entrance to this country, or maybe one day I'm being deported or sent out of the country, And also, I think another problem with that Africa building together is also the way we see ourselves. We don't see ourselves as Africans, we see ourselves first as, like you first when
I'm a Ghanaian.
Where are you from? I'm Ghanaian. Where are you from? I'm Nigerian. And the funny thing is that we don't understand that we are Africans first before we are Ghanaians or we are Nigerians. And so we see ourselves as individual, as different people. So we don't see ourselves as that collective people. And so if you ask a Kenyan about Nigerians, they're like, oh no, I don't like Nigerians. If you ask, so we I think also we don't personally appreciate or love ourselves as a people. And then that's one of the reasons why there's slow growth in Africa. Everybody's doing it on their own. And individuality has never built anything in life. It's always what things have been built from cooperation, from partnerships. But when you have a continent where everybody is trying to do everything on their own, even in Nigeria, there's so much tribalism. There's so much stereotypes between tribes. This tribe hates this tribe don't want to work with this tribe, and then I don't think anything can be created that way. Like, for example, I discovered in America, it is a very funny thing about Americans that when I discovered that, I was like, now I see why this country is growing, right? You ask an American, where are you from? They tell you the place where they grew up. Now,
yeah, true.
Like you say, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Texas. That means that they grew up in Texas. So that if you ask their parents where their parents are from, the parents can tell you a different place, because maybe their parents is from Seattle, right? And that means that's where they came from. That's where they grew up. They grew up. But in Africa, we don't tell you where we grew up. We tell you
the village where our parents are from.
Our parents are from, right? Oh, where are you from? Chidi, I'm from eastern part of Nigeria. When I have never even lived there for a very long time. And so I don't think I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria. I'm from the western part of Nigeria, but that's where I lived and I was grown, and that's why I experienced almost all my adult life. And so why will I say I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria, right? So I think it's that mentality. The way we think it affects the overall output or the overall result of our life. So if we begin to not just see ourselves as individuals, we begin to integrate, we begin to understand that we are not only just, I'm not Igbo, I'm Nigerian, I'm not Nigerian, I'm African. And so we have that sense of belonging. Trust me, Africa in 2020, in 2030 will be way, way advanced than the United States, just because we have all the resources. All the resources in the world come from Africa. It comes from Africa and goes to other parts of the world. Then imagine if we're able to, harness our resources properly. I don't think any other continents, stand a chance against us. They don't really literally have it stand, because we are blessed with intelligent people. We're blessed with the resources. We have everything we need. The only problem is that we just lack cooperation.
What's the value proposition of your industry?
The what?
The value proposition of your industry.
Of my industry?
Yeah.
I think the value proposition of my industry is, I think it's for me, I would more like call it like, we like call it entertainment, but I think it's more like engagement or something. More as a way to make people, just, I think also it's educative. You know, we educate because books educate people. We entertain people. I think it's all around because you can use movies. You can use movies to educate someone. You can use movies to entertain somebody. You can use movies to do literally anything, right? So it's provided on the content of whatever you're creating. So we can literally do anything. We can tell a story. We can change a narrative. We can educate people. We can tell people about their history. We can tell people about the future. You know, so like literally, I think our industry is the bedrock of every other industry because in our industry we have finance writers, we have medical writers, we have like every industry, you know, is fused into the industry, into the digital media industry.
Yeah. Can you give us some insights on into Africa's approach to entrepreneurship and why we have not yet succeeded as compared to that of the West? If you can cite examples, I'll be very grateful.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why most of the businesses in Africa do not succeed as other parts of the world is because we are constantly trying to, will I say, cheat ourselves, or we're trying to break our system. So I discovered that there was this electric bike service in Germany, but I was trying to picture that scenario in Nigeria, and it's not going to work because Nigerians will find a way to break it. So I think the problem is that we as a people, we do not support ourselves. You know, we always believe that when we want something for free, we're always trying to get things from the shortcut. We don't want to go through the required distance to get something. And so when someone is trying to build a business, there are other people out there trying to break the business. Like for example, Go-Kart came into Nigeria. It was being created by this entrepreneur from Bangladesh. Unfortunately, God rest his soul, he passed away a few days ago. But he created Go-Kart as a way to help Nigerians in the transportation industry through motorcycle hailing. But then the government decided to cripple the business by creating a ban for the business of motorcycle in Lagos, and so obviously the business was crippled. So this is an ideal or an example of how foreign investment is being brought into the country, but the government is trying as much as possible to rather to discourage them from doing what they're supposed to do, because Go-Kart was employing a lot of Nigerians. A lot of Nigerians was using the motorcycles to feed their family. And once that went, what happened? The unemployment rates increased. Then robbery and unrest happened in the country. So I think sometimes it's also that the government is not even trying as much as possible to even create good policies or policies that can support businesses. They're always trying to get policies that can rather few money into the government's pocket, then eventually disappears and we don't know where it went to. And so it's. I think everything is, the entire structure is completely wrong. So then, from the head to the tail, from the entrepreneur, some entrepreneurs themselves are trying to look for shortcuts to get from point A to point B. Their target customers are trying to swindle them and try to boycott things. And the government is not even giving the entrepreneurs a good time either, because I discovered that I got into a train. I got into a train, right? And nobody, like you buy a ticket. This was in Europe. You buy a ticket and you get into the train, but nobody literally asks you, "Can I see your ticket?" And then I said to myself, if this was Nigeria, nobody will buy tickets on that train. Everybody is free, until you find us out. So it's amazing how they support their government. Even if they are not being asked where's the ticket, they all buy tickets and then get into the train. So if we can all try and support the government that way, try and do what's right. Things, the citizens will do what's right, the entrepreneurs do what's right, the government do what's right. Everything, everything works. The problem with Africa is just serious corruption. People knowing what is right but refusing to do it.
So we're having an exciting and insightful interview with Mr. Chidi Nwaogu, and he's a serial tech entrepreneur, software developer, public speaker, business writer, volunteer mentor, and a startup advisor. We are going for our last commercial break. When we come back, we'll be talking about mentorship right here on Africa's Next. My name is Emma Cummins. Please go to our Facebook page, Instagram page, and also our YouTube page. Go there, comment on the mentor you'd like to be paired with to learn a lot from. We are back after this short commercial break.
Chidi Nwaogu is a serial tech entrepreneur, co-founder and CEO of Publiseer, a digital publishing firm with reach in over 12 countries across the world. Recognized as one of the most innovative tech companies that drives African innovation, his company Publiseer was awarded the Best Digital Media Publishing Company for West Africa in 2020 by African Excellence Awards. Chidi possesses key skills in web design and development, leadership, entrepreneurship, game development and management, user interface design, business development, and much more. When you select Chidi as your mentor, you will learn the secrets of how to create a thriving tech startup business. Log on to our page, Africa's Next SPG, on Facebook and Instagram, and select Chidi as your mentor, or write to us at africasnextspg@gmail.com. Meet your mentor, Chidi Nwaogu. Africa's Next, empowering Africa's next superpower generation.
Back from the commercial break, we're still live on Africa's Next. My name is Emma Cummins, so we're having an interview with Chidi Nwaogu. Chidi, welcome back from the commercial break.
Thank you.
We are talking about the last part of the conversation, has to do with mentorship and training. And you are one of the few mentors that have been selected by Africa's Next to help young entrepreneurs wanting to go into media and media publicity. What do you bring onto the table?
Well, for me, I bring experience, and which I believe is the most important thing. You cannot give what you don't have, and you cannot tell what you've not been through. And so there's a difference between mentorship based on what you read from books, and then mentorship based on what you've experienced. And that's the reason why whenever I mentor someone, they can really relate to it, because I tell them what I've done and what didn't work for me. I don't tell them what I read from a book, because reading books, obviously, most of these books that we read, or most people read, are written in the United States, written by people that don't understand our markets. And what works for them over there don't work for us over here, because we are completely different people. We are completely we have different mindsets. We have different structures, and so what works for us here is different from what works over there. I can remember during more like an advisory council, in Pursuit Incubator. So I was to talk to and Katie. Katie is from Idaho in the United States, and we were to talk to this Fumi, an entrepreneur in Lagos. So she's trying to create this sort of booth for charging phones with solar. And so Katie was giving her own feedback and was asking her answers. However, I understood that Katie's answers were not relevant in Africa. Not that they were not relevant. They were relevant for an American entrepreneur. So when I came into the picture, and I started asking Fumi the questions, like Fumi literally became dumb. She couldn't speak anymore, because she realized that I really understood the market, and I really broke the market so much that she understood that she was lacking in so many places. And then Katie understood that. According to Katie, she said she never understood Fumi's idea from until I came into the picture. I was able to paint it clearly. So there's a difference between if I am mentoring Fumi and Katie is mentoring Fumi. So Katie is obviously knowledgeable. She understands what what she's doing. But however, she does not understand the market in Africa. And I understand it. And so I'll make a better mentor if I'm mentoring someone from Africa. However, if I'm mentoring somebody from the United States, I might not get it right, because I don't really understand how things work. Exactly. And so the relevance I'll bring is the fact that I understand the industry. I understand how things work. I've built so many businesses in the industry, and so I understand it. So I'm not speaking based on what I read from a book. I'm speaking based on what happened to me. The really hard examples that that hit me. So I explained to them, okay, so if you're trying to do this, then it's not going to work. And why I'm saying not going to work, because I've done it and it did not work, and this is what happened to me, and this is what I did. And so you better do this right now instead of making a costly mistake. So I'm able to give, help them to prevent any costly mistake because I've been there and so I've done it here.
And what should these upcoming entrepreneurs know to better equip them for the industry?
Well, I think they should not. I wouldn't say they should know everything because obviously you can't know everything. But what they should do is to listen to advice. Most entrepreneurs, when you try to advise or you try to give them feedback, they see that an attack on their personality or attack on their credibility or attack on their product or whatever they're building. And unfortunately, it's not an attack. They should be able to filter between a constructive criticism and just a blatant ridicule. And so when someone is trying to give them a complete constructive criticism, I think I love your passion. However, this product will not work, and this is the reason why. They shouldn't feel emotional about it. They should rather have this rational mind and try to understand, try to see it from the other person's point of view, because you're not creating this product for yourself. You're creating this product for people like that person that is speaking to you. So you need to listen to people. And I understood the importance of listening to advice or listening to feedback when I was as early as when I was 16. That was when I understood the importance, because so like I told you, when I was 16, we created this video game, and so we put it out for gameplay, and people just kept writing to us, this game is too difficult, the gameplay is too hard, the bullets fly at match 4, I can't survive in this game for 5 seconds, this is bad gameplay. And so 16-year-old boys with so much ego, we said, oh, you don't know how to play the game, and so we just try to defend ourselves that they don't know how to play the game, they're not good at playing the game, and so they shouldn't tell that the game is not good because they can't play the game. And then out of 5, a 5-star rating, we got 2.3 within 4 days. Then we understood that it was bad because almost everybody was saying bad. And I said to Chika, I think there's something we're doing wrong. Obviously, there's something we're doing wrong. So why don't we just humble ourselves, listen to these people, and just go through the feedback, filter the ones that we believe make sense, and then away from the ones that don't make sense. And so we spent 2 days looking through through what they said, filter what we are able to do, because there's a difference between what they tell you to do and what you're able to do. Because when you're a coder, you understand that some things that some people tell you to do that you just can't do because you don't understand the algorithm that will create that, because you're not that advanced in that coding level. So we tried to understand what works, and then we implemented what we could implement, and then we released the game afterwards. And from a 2.3 rating, we got to a 4.5 rating within just a few hours. Everybody, the same set of people saying it was a bad game, saying it's amazing. Now I can play the game. Now I can enjoy the game. This is amazing. And we understood that they did not hate the product. They did not hate us. They just didn't appreciate the state in which the product was, and they were trying to help us. So if entrepreneurs can understand that if I'm trying to speak to you about your product, I don't hate you. I don't hate the product either. I'm just trying to improve the product because I love the product and I believe that there's a potential in the product, and I wanted to get to that point. And so once entrepreneurs can have that open mind to receive feedback and criticism, I don't think that anything can stop them.
I know a lot of our viewers, entrepreneurs viewing the show who are into media would like to pair with you. What should mentees expect when they are paired with you to be mentored, either in your current industry or entrepreneurial endeavor?
Well, they should expect a very informal person, because I'm very informal. So I like getting to know them, on a personal level, because I believe that if I understand them personally and understand their personal headspace, then I know how best to relate with them. I do not call people mentees; I call them friends, because I don't like using the word mentee, like but it has to be used in a professional setting. However, I just believe that they're my friends, and they're my friends that I'm trying to guide along the way. So they should expect a very informal section. They can reach out to me at any time, as long as I'm online or I'm available for a phone call or for a chat, I'm going to be there. And they should expect so not every time is going to be so serious. So I would try to break the ice at some point and make them smile and laugh and understand that life is not all about being serious. And then while they're laughing, I might find a way to bring them back into what we're talking about. So they should just expect a friend, who is going to just guide them. They shouldn't expect some serious Chidi that will say, you do this, you do that. You know, it's not a lecture room, and I don't intend to lecture anybody. So I just intend to just guide them, you know, as friends. Yeah.
So then we encourage all the entrepreneurs watching us that if you want to be paired with a likable Chidi, just go to our Facebook page, Instagram page, go there and type his name, Chidi Nwaogu. If you type the name, you'll be paired with the mentor, Chidi. So a wrap up for us today on the show. Chidi, before you go, we would like to talk about the work that you do. We want the details, where we can get it, social media handles, your website, how we can connect to you, how people can, those viewing us can come and come for use your product. How do you get those?
So just if you want to connect with me, just Google Chidi Nwaogu, and then you see everything you need to see. My social media handle. So Google displays a Google knowledge graph, and then you can see more about me, you know, where my age and stuff like that, and then you can most importantly see my my social media account. Connect with me, or you know, any of four of them: Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Same thing with Publiseer. If you want to know more about Publiseer, just Google Publiseer, and then everything. You know, we occupy the first 20 results, so definitely. You know, you're going to see. You're not going to definitely be taken to a different Publiseer. You're going to be taken to our own Publiseer. Yeah. And same thing. If you want to understand, if you want to know more about Pringin, just Google Pringin. I think Google is the perfect tool to be able to connect with me here.
We are very much grateful for joining us today on Africa's Next. We are hoping that this conversation will not stop here, to continue. Entrepreneurs will be motivated to follow the steps that I have already created.
Yeah, same.
So today on the show, I'll be speaking to Chidi Nwaogu, who is a serial tech entrepreneur, software developer, public speaker, business writer, a volunteer mentor, a startup advisor. Nwaogu started his entrepreneurial journey when he was 16 years by the creation of Naija Boy Interactive. He has been our guest today on Africa's Next. Thank you for joining us today on the show. I want to say thank you to our guests, thank you to our sponsors, and thank you everybody who did listening. We are back hopefully next week with another interactive and interesting conversation with another awesome guest on the show. Stay blessed, protect yourself. My name is Chidi Nwaogu.